Facing a judge. New tonight on Our News Live at 7. Embattled North Abaco MP out on bail tonight, facing serious charges including rape. Details from inside today's court hearing. Plus, dozens of residents lamenting power woes on North Andros weeks after the power plant in Nicholstown suffered a catastrophic blaze. And standing on the shoulders of men like Paul Farquharson, the former police commissioner who passed away last month, is memorialized. More on his life and legacy straight ahead. Then in Our News at 7:30, an American woman implicated in an alleged murder conspiracy against her husband gets bail. Our News Live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kendino Knowles. Months after abuse allegations surfaced, embattled North Abaco MP Kirk Cornish facing a judge today, charged with rape, assault, and threats of death. Less than 3 hours after he was arraigned, Cornish, who is a member of the governing Progressive Liberal Party, was granted bail. Berthany McDermott, who was in court today, joins us now with more on this. And Berthany, we know ahead of today's arraignment, Prime Minister Davis requested and accepted Cornish's resignation from his cabinet-appointed post.
Yes, Kendino, the charges against the North Abaco MP came one day after Cornish resigned as parliamentary secretary in the office of the Prime Minister. But interestingly enough, Kendino, in court today, Cornish kept his composure as the charges were read. North Abaco Member of Parliament Kirk Cornish has been granted $9,500 bail with 1 or 2 suretors after being hit with 2 counts of rape, 2 counts of assault, and 1 count of threats of death. As a condition of bail, Justice Gregory Hilton ordered he has no contact with the virtual complainant or anyone connected to her by any means. A few hours earlier, Cornish, who was notably not in handcuffs or shackles, appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. Cornish was not required to enter a plea to any of the charges. He was also escorted to the Magistrates Court complex in a black Ford police jeep. Prosecutors allege that between Friday, March 25th and April 4th, 2023, Cornish had sexual intercourse with the victim without her consent. Cornish, who was dressed in a gray suit, the blue shirt, gray tie, and black shoes, is also accused of assaulting and threatening her life. Prosecutors allege these incidents happened in New Providence and in Cooperstown, Abaco. The former parliamentary secretary in the office of the Prime Minister returns to court on October 17th for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. Outside court, a few of Cornish's family members gathered. Joining them were less than a dozen party supporters. Water and Sewage Corporation Chairman Sylvanus Petty and Bahamas Utility Services and Allied Workers Union President Dwayne Woods were also in court to support Cornish.
We supported him in his venture of becoming a Member of Parliament, and we pledge our full support then, and we pledge our full support now.
The law is taking its course, right? Which is the right thing to do, right? And when it's done, whatever the law says, we'll abide by. But I'm flowing from Crooked Island.
Well, Kendino, as for what's next for Cornish, we'll all find out when he returns to court on October 17th for the voluntary bill of indictment. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Berthany. Berthany McDermott reporting live in studio tonight. Now, from the North Abaco MP to the island of Andros, where dozens of residents in the north carrying posters gathered outside the Bahamas Power and Light main office to air their grievances out over ongoing power issues there. Last month, the power plant in Nicholstown suffered a catastrophic blaze that destroyed the facility. Leading the protests, self-proclaimed advocate Lisa Sweeting, who says the frequent outages have made life especially hard for residents and businesses.
Business owners as myself, it's very hard on us. We are losing money. Meats and veggies have to stay fresh and chilled, as well as dairy products. Fridge, TV, microwave, washers. These appliances are being destroyed because of power outage every second. Who's going to replace them? We need answers. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
And North Andros fisherman Larry Newton telling us that his livelihood has been affected by the outages, and he's calling on the company to be more consistent.
I lost many of my fishes this time. Also, I lost my refrigerator and freezer due to bad electricity. There's time that we as a people understand that not because we are not the MP or any, we are suffering. We need to be taken care of. Right. We need someone who cares about us, who's going to work towards making this thing work. And BPL just seem to be dragging their feet. I compliment them when their station burned out. They did an excellent job within 3-4 days. Right. But now, the consistency and the inefficiency of which they operate now is bothering me, as well as many other business persons.
Now, following the protests, BPL issuing a statement saying that minor challenges resulted in periods of supply interruption. They say technicians were flown in on Tuesday, and according to the power company, power there has been fully restored. And speaking of those power woes on North Andros, residents in New Providence now under a load shedding advisory issued by the company late this afternoon. BPL posting on its Facebook page about one of its primary 25 megawatt units being shut off for emergency repairs, resulting in a generation shortfall. According to the advisory, customers in the Mackey Street, Collins Avenue, and Marathon Mall areas may be experiencing outages as we speak. Customers in New Providence, western New Providence, as well as those between Prince Charles Drive and Beatrice Avenue, were first in the outage rotation and should have had their power restored by 6:30 this evening. Now, BPL says its teams are working to limit these interruptions to approximately 3-hour intervals as they attempt to bring the unit back up. We are expecting an update from the power company by 9 o'clock tonight, as officials are also apologizing for the inconvenience. Former High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Ellison Greenslade, sharing fond memories today of his former colleague at this morning's viewing for former Commissioner of Police, the late Paul Farquharson. Greenslade, who is also a former police commissioner, describing Farquharson as a generous, decent, and honest person, calling him a man of the time.
He took over after we were just coming out of a very difficult period in this country, coming off the years of drug trafficking, and Mr. Bonnaby had the stewardship of the force at that time. The reins were passed to Mr. Farquharson, and Mr. Farquharson brought unity, brought us all together as a family. He was approachable. One could walk up to him on any given day, ask any question, and would feel quite comfortable in his presence. Always looked out for his officers. You've heard Commissioner Fernando allude to that. And wherever he went, he made it his point to make you feel a part of the team. He did marvelous work.
And Greenslade crediting the success of those like himself who followed behind Farquharson to the groundwork that the late police commissioner laid during his time as chief.
We stand on the shoulders of men like Paul Farquharson that have gone before us. There are many others that preceded him. But those of us who came behind didn't work any particular magic. If crime numbers were low, if there were improvements in the organizations, those things were in train for years prior. And those of us that came into office simply benefited from the work that was done by the people before us. And so it's a sad day for the country.
All right, and our condolences to the Farquharson family during this time. Well, we've got much more to get to in a moment, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson, he's standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Kindian, and a happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Another warm day to the record books. Temperatures managed to get up into the mid-90s, and those feels like temperature, they were hitting like 110, 112 this afternoon, and it's still warm out there. 88 degrees outside our studios under mostly clear skies. East-southeast winds at 8 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature, they are hovering into the upper 90s. 97 is what it feels like on the outdoors. Taking a look at temperatures around the islands right now, it's very warm across the northwest Bahamas, 88 in Freeport, 87 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up more 88s in Alistown, Bimini, Nicholstown, Andros, and in Great Harbor Key. Governor's Harbor, you guys are 87. Central Bahamas, more upper 80s there with 88s in Kemps Bay and in Coburn Town, San Salvador, Arthurstown, Cat Island, and Georgetown. You guys are 87. 85 in Deadman's Key, and you could be seeing a couple of showers nearby. And into the southeast Bahamas, 87 in Duncantown, Ragged Island. Cooler temperatures in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, 85 there, 85 in Abrahams Bay. Pick up 86 in Delectable Bay and in Providenciales, Matthewtown, Inagua, in the deep south. You guys are currently 87 at this hour. Satellite and radar composite, it's quiet across our area. Ridge of high pressure still dominating our weather, but we do have an active tropical wave near the southeast Bahamas that's moving across Hispaniola. That's producing some cloudiness and some showers and thunderstorms across the southeast Bahamas. This entire system will continue to track towards the west. There is also an upper level low that's spinning just to the north of that, so the interaction of this tropical wave, that low, will continue to trigger some showers, and we're looking for that through tonight and into tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come in our news, work in progress is back tonight as works officials tackle flooding on Exuma. And a new deal inked between the water company and management union. Plus, it's more than dance, it's a ministry. Jamila Mizik tells us the story of Georgia's School of Dance and Theater 20 years later, when our news returns. The Works Minister addressing flooding in Exuma after heavy rainfall a few weeks ago. In tonight's Work in Progress segment, he admits usual mitigation efforts are now simply inefficient. Natalia Hall reports.
Works and Utilities Minister Alfred Serres says the amount of rainfall on the island of Exuma a few weeks ago was unprecedented. The tragic situation forced residents to stay in their homes as their yards, cars, and homes were flooded. The Works Minister says Exuma has a sensitive ecosystem.
One of the outlets had been blocked. That was blocked, and that really assisted in terms of the flow of water from the creek. We also had to take extraordinary measures because the water, with the rise of the creek, roads were obstructed, interfering with students getting to school, people getting to work.
To assist with those issues, he says pumps were mobilized, and that effort has been going on for weeks.
In addition, the engineers are looking at constructing retaining ponds, that is areas where the water can be directed away from people's homes, as well as the roads, interfering with the movement along the road.
Sarah says he and his team are reviewing flood mitigation measures to better address the reality of global warming and rising sea levels.
Revising the building code so that certain areas where people had built before, we will have to ensure that that is minimized, and where building does take place, some of the measures that we see in some parts of Florida, where the foundation of the building has to be higher.
Reporting for Work in Progress for Our News, I'm Natalia Hall.
All right, thanks a lot, Natalia. Well, approximately 86 Water and Sewerage Corporation middle managers will benefit from an industrial agreement signed between the Water and Sewerage Corporation and the management union. The agreement covers the period 2022 to 2025. The value of the agreement, $2.3 million. President of Water and Sewerage Management Union, Montgomery Miller, says the financial provisions came into effect on August 1st this year.
We have ensured equity across the corporation such that employees and managers alike are duly incentivized and compensated in accordance with their objectively measured performance. For the long-term sustainability of water and sewage, we have agreed to a group medical insurance premium cost-sharing proposal for new employees to ensure the ongoing provision of affordable medical insurance for all of our members. We have jointly with WSC greatly enhanced the provisions such that malicious and unjustified transfers are explicitly barred and actionable.
The total value is in the range of about $2.3 million, but as Mr. Miller would have explained, that's shared over all of the existing middle managers and also a series of benefits payments that would also be due to managers who would have retired from the corporation, etc., during the period as well.
And Works Minister Alfred Sayers calling the signing a remarkable accomplishment. It's the first time in over a decade since both unions at the corporation have held industrial agreements with 2 full years to go before expiration.
As part of this process, all staff from the executives to the middle managers to the non-managers will now have updated, modernized job descriptions and objective performance-based scorecards with regular engagement, coaching, training, and annual performance assessments.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as we are learning high ocean temperatures are harming coral reefs in Florida. Plus, scrambling to pay energy bills, millions of Americans making tough choices to make ends meet. And later, an American nurse and her child who were kidnapped in Haiti are freed. Authorities explain their release when our news returns. This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Coral rescue groups, government and academic institutions have mobilized to save coral from a historic bleaching event that experts say threatens the viability of the 3rd largest reef tract in the world. According to National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, in mid-July, water surface temperatures averaged about 91 degrees off the lower Florida Keys, which is well above the 85 degrees average.
It has been getting a little bit slower and slower each summer we've been fishing. I'm not sure if it's because of the water temperatures or anything. I'm not sure how much it's even affecting us offshore-wise as we're fishing the Gulf Stream. Staying pretty steady around like 85 degrees or so. But as far as all of our bay waters, any near shore waters, everything's super, super hot. Up to, as you mentioned, 101 degrees water temperature.
And as climate change ratchets up temperatures across the United States, millions of the poorest Americans are grappling with the decision about suffering through perilous heat or paying costly bills. According to the latest preliminary nationwide federal data, nearly 30 million American households are struggling to pay their energy bills, even though they qualify for a subsidy. But less than 3% of them are receiving it. And Canadian rapper Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison yesterday. It comes more than 7 months after he was convicted of shooting fellow musical artist Megan Thee Stallion during an argument in 2020. Gabe Singer reports.
Canadian rapper Tory Lanez has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for shooting fellow artist Megan Thee Stallion during an argument in 2020. The sentence came during a hearing Tuesday, 7 months after his conviction in the case, handed down from a judge in Los Angeles Superior Court. In December 2022, a judge found Lanez guilty of carrying a loaded and unregistered firearm in a vehicle, assault with a semi-automatic handgun, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Lanez was accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion after a Hollywood pool party in 2020, injuring her feet. She told the court during trial the shooting was preceded by a heated argument in which the two were critical of each other's careers. The 28-year-old needed surgery and was hospitalized for 4 days after the incident. She did not attend Lanez's sentencing, saying she could not bear to be in the same room, but wrote a statement that was read in court. "He not only shot me, he made a mockery of my trauma. This is a statement for all survivors that their lives matter, and there is zero tolerance for the torture that accompanies violence." Lanez's defense lawyer, Jose Baez, spoke to reporters after the sentencing.
This case, to get a 10-year sentence is extreme, and really just another example of someone being punished for their celebrity status and someone being utilized as to send an example. And he's not an example, he's a human being. And I think it's incredibly unfortunate, and it's something that we plan on appealing.
After the guilty verdict last December, Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon, whose office prosecuted the case, said that women, especially black women, often refrain from reporting crimes such as assault and sexual violence for fear they will not be believed. After the sentencing, Gascon added he hoped Megan Thee Stallion's courage would inspire those in similar circumstances to come forward.
Florida has matched every number to win the $1.58 billion Mega Millions lottery jackpot. It's the third largest in U.S. history. The winning ticket was sold at a supermarket in Neptune Beach in northern Florida near Jacksonville. Winning numbers 13, 19, 20, 32, 33, and a gold mega ball of 14. The identity of the winner has not yet been revealed, and local laws mean it could be a while before we find out. And now to the region where an American nurse and her child kidnapped in Haiti nearly 2 weeks ago have been freed. That's according to the Christian charity she worked for, El Roi Haiti, which confirmed the safe release. Alex Dorsanville was working at a local ministry site outside Port-au-Prince on July 27th when she and her child were kidnapped. Hours after the U.S. State Department ordered non-emergency government personnel and the family members of embassy officials to leave the country. Gangs control around 80% of the capital, and violent crimes such as kidnappings and armed robbery are common. And finally, an investigation has been launched into the mining pit collapse that killed 2 miners in Region 7 in Guyana last Wednesday. The Ministry of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Department, which is investigating, says as part of the probe, 7 mining camps near the collapsed mine were issued a stop work notice to allow the investigation teams access to carry out a thorough inspection. Officials say a follow-up visit is planned very soon. Still to come in our news today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was August 9th. Then in our news at 7:30, a Georgia housewife who prosecutors allege was behind a plot to kill her husband is a free woman, at least for now. Find out who posted her $100,000 bail. Plus, a potential environmental crisis on Grand Bahama as oil spotted on beaches there. The exclusive video when our news returns. This is our news. Welcome back. It's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was August 9th. Take a look. On this day in Bahamian history in 1985, the New York Times published an article about patients of a clinic in Grand Bahama receiving a drug contaminated with an AIDS-related virus. The article claims patients at the clinic were exposed to AIDS and hepatitis, and that the Ministry of Health ordered the agency to close, although no AIDS cases were reported as a result of the treatment. Then fast forward to 2018, when a blackout hit North Andros after a fire broke out at a Bahamas Power and Light unit on the island. The incident happened after another unit went down the night before at BPL's Clifton Pier plant in Nassau. Then August 9th, 2022, a fire at the International Bazaar on Grand Bahama. A huge portion of the shopping and entertainment center was fully engulfed in flames, and due to the high winds that day, the fire spread to nearby structures. And finally, on the same day in 2022, 4 Bahamians were caught up in the seizure of nearly $1 million in the Dominican Republic. The men and 1 Haitian woman were arrested after Dominican authorities say they saw a suspicious profile in the luggage of one of their checked bags. After a manual check, authorities say they found nearly $880,000 US. All right, when it comes to extracurricular activities, attending dance class seems like an obvious choice for many, and my little sister Lanisha is one of them. She's easily able to relate to this. But did you know that there are actually lifelong benefits from the popular hobby? Jamila Mizik tells us more in this report.
For 20 years, Georgia's School of Dance and Theater has been positively impacting the lives of those who entered its doors. Owner, artistic director, and instructor Georgia Store Taylor says she believes the purpose of the school is more than just to teach dance, it's a ministry. And if you were ever considering enrolling your child in a dance school, here's why she says you should.
If your child loves dance, if your child loves theater, I think it'll be an appropriate thing for you to get them involved in an after-school activity such as dance or drama to enhance their natural ability.
She says, unfortunately, there is a stigma in the Bahamas that discourages young men from participating in dance class, but that's an idea she feels should be reconsidered.
I think it's limiting our boys because not every boy is going to want to play football or even have the athletic ability to do those things. And when they take dance, it will help that enhance that athletic ability, because dance is a builder. It's a body builder, a muscle builder, a discipline builder.
While many of her students tend to excel both academically and in dance class, she says their success propels them much further than her dance studio.
I've had students that had scholarships to Frenchwood summer camp in New York City, where they went to do performing arts and dance, music. And then I have a student that's presently in Florida studying dance.
As for the future of dance in the Bahamas,
and I feel like as years pass and the world opens itself more to this type of talent, we're going to find more of our students being able to go off, join the Alvin Dance Company and all the other dance companies out there that we all reverence. And they're going to go further and come back and teach or just be on Broadway.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
All right, thanks for that, Jamila. To watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. It's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Italia Hall. She's got the latest headlines. Italia?
Yes, Ken, I'm happy to see that story from Jamila. Growing up, a lot of my classmates, they would attend that dance school.
For sure.
So to see that, it brought back lots of memories.
For sure. And it reminded me of my little sister I mentioned in the lead, Lanisha. She's been a dancer from high school, and to see that journey, but also to understand how much more the dance it is, the ministry that it is, the way she was committed to it, it's certainly a story I know she'll relate to.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Jamila. And thanks, Ken. All right, coming up tonight, a Georgia housewife who prosecutors allege was behind a plot to kill her husband is a free woman, at least for now. Plus, a potential environmental crisis on Grand Bahama as oil spotted on beaches there. Here are your latest headlines. Bail granted. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30. The North Abaco Member of Parliament granted bail following serious charges. Our Bethany McDermott has details from inside the courtroom. Plus, an American woman allegedly behind a plot to kill her husband has been released from prison. Find out just who posted her bail. Also, more oil sighted by residents and visitors on Grand Bahama. We have exclusive video and photos coming up. And later, mixed opinions on whether the Bahamas should send officers to Haiti. A former prime minister is weighing in. Our News Live at 7:30 is back in a moment. Welcome to Our News, and thank you for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Months after abuse allegations surfaced, embattled North Abaco MP Kirk Cornish facing a judge today, charged with rape, assault, and threats of death. Less than 3 hours after he was arraigned, Cornish, who was a member of the governing Progressive Liberal Party, was granted bail. Now our Bethany McDermott, who was in court today, joins us now with more on this. And Bethany, we know ahead of today's arraignment, Prime Minister Davis requested and accepted Cornish's resignation from his cabinet-appointed posts.
Yes, Natalia, the charges against the North Abaco MP came one day after Cornish resigned as parliamentary secretary in the office of the Prime Minister. But interestingly enough, Natalia, in court today, Cornish kept his composure as the charges were read. North Abaco Member of Parliament Kirk Cornish has been granted $9,500 bail with 1 or 2 suretors after being hit with 2 counts of rape, 2 counts of assault, and 1 count of threats of death. As a condition of bail, Justice Gregory Hilton ordered he has no contact with the virtual complainant or anyone connected to her by any means. A few hours earlier, Cornish, who was notably not in handcuffs or shackles, appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. Cornish was not required to enter a plea to any of the charges. He was also escorted to the Magistrates Court complex in a black Ford police jeep. Prosecutors allege that between Friday, March 25th and April 4th, 2023, Cornish had sexual intercourse with the victim without her consent. Cornish, who was dressed in a gray suit, a blue shirt, gray tie, and black shoes, is also accused of assaulting and threatening her life. Prosecutors allege these incidents happened in New Providence and in Cooperstown, Abaco. The former parliamentary secretary in the office of the Prime Minister returns to court on October 17th for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. Outside court, a few of Cornish's family members gathered. Joining them were less than a dozen party supporters. Water and Sewage Corporation Chairman Sylvanus Petty and Bahamas Utility Services and Allied Workers Union President Dwayne Woods were also in court to support Cornish.
We supported him in his venture of becoming a Member of Parliament, and we pledge our full support then, and we pledge our full support now.
The law is taking its course, right? Which is the right thing to do, right? And when it's done, whatever the law says, we'll abide by. But I'm fleeing from Crooked Island.
Well, Natalia, as for what's next for him, we'll all have to see when he returns to court on October 17th for that voluntary bill of indictment.
I know you are an Abaco native. What's the mood on the ground there? Have you been able to speak with residents? How are they feeling about the situation?
Well, it seems residents are split on the issue. While some say he is innocent until proven guilty, others are saying otherwise. But again, we'll just have to wait until the trial completes. He says he will continue to represent his constituency.
All right, thanks so much for that, Berthany. That's our Berthany McDermott reporting live in studio tonight. Well, a Georgia housewife who prosecutors say was the mastermind behind a plot to kill her husband has been freed from prison on a $100,000 bail. Mom of three, Lindsay Shiver, was released from the Central Police Station after being tagged with an ankle monitor. She has to remain in Nassau until October 5th and check in at the Cable Beach Police Station 3 times a week. Her American passport has been surrendered to the U.S. Embassy. Shiver is accused of conspiring with 2 Bahamians to kill her husband of 13 years, Robert Shiver. The couple split in April after Robert accused his wife of cheating. Months later, on July 16th, prosecutors say Lindsay planned Robert's murder with her alleged lover, Terrence Bethel. The pair is accused of enlisting Ferran Newbold to carry out the plan. Now, police investigating a break-in at a bar in Guyana, Abaco, where Bethel worked, stumbled across the plot when they examined his cell phone. Prosecutors, who had no objection to the alleged conspirators being granted bail after speaking to Mr. Shiver, Lindsay's co-accused, were released last Thursday. And now to Grand Bahama as more oil showing up across shorelines on that island. Our newsroom has been flooded with photos and videos from Grand Bahamians showing traces of oil on various beaches on that northern island. Our Northern Bahamas cameraman, Rory Storr, also capturing this footage. Oil coating seaweed, sand, and debris. Visitors also showing us oil on their swimsuits and feet. Now, business owner Bernadette Whitfield sharing her encounter with a few tourists.
Atalia, I've been here from 9 a.m. this morning, and my first encounter with the tourists today was that they were covered with oil on their legs, on their back, and when I looked, it looked like black. It was all black stripes. So I went to the water to try to figure out what was going on, and the seaweed is covered with oil slick. I have other tourists on the beach now, and they're experiencing the same thing. There was a banana boat that went out, and all the guests came back with oil on their ties.
Now we caught up with Chairman of Save the Bays, Joseph Darville, on Fortune Beach. He says he believes the oil came from a ship, adding that the penalty should be high for the offender.
This is a catastrophe. This is our livelihood. What are tourists going to say? Oh, no, don't go to Grand Bahama anymore. Don't go there because their beach is all filled with tar. This is a phenomenal economic catastrophe for the island of Grand Bahama, and it has to be handled accordingly. All the way from Coral Beach, about 3 miles to my left, and all the way up to Old Town, High Rock, which is another 4 miles to the east. All of the beaches are now inundated with this muck on our pristine beaches.
All right, well, Buckeye releasing a statement this afternoon. Officials say they are aware that petroleum-based residue has been found on some beaches. The statement continues, quote, while the source of the material is currently unknown, we are actively investigating and have initiated cleanup efforts on local beaches, end quote. The Lakaya Service Company also releasing a statement saying they are part of a joint task force with government agencies that will investigate the matter as it is a high priority. Well, former Prime Minister Perry Christie defending the decision to send Bahamian officers to Haiti. He says while opinions are mixed when it comes to international boots on the ground, security is imperative in handling the situation in Haiti. As a member of CARICOM's Eminent Persons Group, Christie says those conversations are ongoing with the Secretary General of the United Nations.
There's always disagreement in any country as to whether there should be boots on the ground, whether there should be foreign soldiers in. And most certainly, CARICOM has now welcomed the commitment of Kenya, the Bahamas, and Jamaica, and the others who are agreeing to contribute security forces there. And the idea is that they would come and work within the context of the National Police Force and be a complementary group as opposed to a group driving security. So we have to wait. The Security Council has given the Secretary General 30 days to report back.
Christie emphasizes that the intention behind having international troops in the area is important to understand. He says the plan would likely have them being supplementary to ongoing training exercises.
My sense is that the intention of providing a secure force to assist the Haitians down there, because there's a very dynamic training program going on, assisted by the Americans and the Canadians, in providing a whole new cadre of police officers. And any contingent from the Bahamas or Jamaica or CARICOM countries joining those from Africa would just be supplementary to what's happening down there. And really the intention is to bring in an environment that will enable them to have free and fair elections, re-establish the institutions, and go on to have a vibrant democracy.
All right, another hot day around the islands as we dive even deeper into the summer months. Now, while temperatures are expected to remain hot, there is some rain in the forecast. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with a first check on weather. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome everybody for a quick check on conditions outside our studios and around the islands. It's 88 degrees, very warm on the outside under mostly clear skies. Your winds are out of the east-southeast at 8 miles per hour. And your feels like temperature, it is very warm. Feels like a very warm 97 on the outdoors. Satellite and radar composite, quiet across most of the Bahamas. High pressure is still in charge of our weather. We still have that dry air mass, but we also have some Saharan dust in place. There is an active tropical wave near the southeast Bahamas that's producing some cloudiness and some showers. This will continue to move towards the west, and we're looking for some showers later on tonight through tomorrow across the central Bahamas as well. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, why the nation's leader says there's been no positive progress in the city of Freeport by the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Also, we'll tell you about some new technology that's helping a business make shopping easier for consumers. Plus, changing lives. The story of a local doctor traveling to Africa to assist the less fortunate. When our news returns.
Doctors Hospital is reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
If new, Heineken Silver was a riveting Viking saga.
Last the 12th, your family tortured my first wife and stole my second favorite goat. Now you want to marry my daughter. Okay.
All the taste, no bitter endings. Smooth, fresh, silver.
There's been no positive progress by the Grand Bahama Port Authority, the bold claim coming from Prime Minister Philip Davis, who recently said his government is committed to fulfilling its promise to Grand Bahama. When asked if there's been any response from the port on an invoice that was sent by government, here's what he had to say.
I have to ask my attorney general where we are, but we are committed to ensuring that the Grand Bahama promise is lived and fulfilled, and will not relent until we have put in place a proper path.
All right, well, overnight delivery and even same-day delivery are luxuries we usually associate with the United States, but there are companies here like CBS Bahamas working to bring our shopping experiences into the 21st century. Well, our Marlena Leonard has the story. Let's take a look.
Online shopping has gained popularity, but usually when it comes time to check out, we know it may mean a weeks-long wait, multiple calls to your courier about possible arrival dates, and extra fees for shipping and duty. But did you know overnight or even same-day pickup and delivery is available here? Senior Manager of E-commerce at CBS Bahamas, Brent Burrows, explains how their new website brings those technological luxuries to Bahamians.
11,000 products available online. All are available for 2-hour in-store pickup at either of our locations, Southwest Plaza or Robinson Road. And we've also got next-day delivery and same-day delivery. So whether you need it to your job site, the mailboat, your house, whatever the case might be, we'll get it there. We make it easy, and our delivery is just, next-day delivery is $5 island-wide. Doesn't matter if you order one screw or you order a truckload of cement.
For those who prefer to go to the store, their website is also connected to their in-store pickup lockers.
Automated smart lockers. Place your order online. Within 2 hours, you'll get a pickup code texted and emailed to you. You come right into the store, scan your code right here. One of the doors will open, pick up your package, and you're out the door. It's like less than 2 minutes.
The website even has an AI bot to help you with projects if you're not sure exactly what it is you need.
The AI-powered bot, we called it the Build Beautiful bot. It's available 24 hours a day. You can talk to it. It can answer any questions you have, from product and pricing information to how to repair a leaky faucet. So super helpful for all sorts of stuff. And then if you're not satisfied with the results you get from the bot, you can always escalate it to a human as well. But we find that the bot is very knowledgeable and it knows a lot. It's anybody into AI, it's based on ChatGPT.
And there's a special treat in store for some of the website's first users.
So if you place an order online anytime this month, the entire month of August, you'll be entered to win a $1,000 gift card. And then also starting today, our first 50 orders, or I guess after this airs, will get a free goodie with their order as well.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
When Our News comes back from the break, a local doctor traveling across the world to make a positive contributions in the lives of others. Our Megan Shepard has the full story.
We talked to one of Major League Baseball's youngest scouts from right here in the Bahamas. Stay with us. Our Sports is coming right up next.
And another hot day in the capital, but that's been the norm for the past few weeks. Wondering what we can expect heading into the weekend? Well, Greg is back with the extended weather when Our News returns.
Today's sports update is sponsored by Michelob Ultra, distributed in the Bahamas by Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
This is our news. Welcome back. We introduce you to a 23-year-old baseball player from New Providence. Here's Tage Adderley with a check on sports. Tage?
Thanks, Italia. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Our Sports. I'm Tage Adderley.
Scouting, it's kind of an interesting journey.
That's Dominique DJ Carley Jr. At 23 years old, he's an area scout for the Boston Red Sox in the Bahamas. He's responsible for keeping an eye on the ever-increasing talent pool in our islands.
My responsibility are watching both of the academies and any young prospects possibly in the little leagues around the island. Baseball academies that we have here located in Nassau, as well as the little leagues all around the Bahamas, including Freeport and Luther.
Although he's been a scout for about a year, he's learning a great deal about the business of scouting baseball.
Watching for guys that might not exactly catch your eyes right away, but knowing that it's a process, and a lot of kids grow different, they learn differently, and they advance at different ages.
DJ was on the Bahamas coaching staff at the Caribbean Baseball Classic earlier this year. He definitely has plans of being an MLB skipper.
I think my end goal would be a manager, a big league manager, to hopefully manage the World Baseball Classic for Team Bahamas.
All right. That'll do it for sports today. I'm Tage Adderley.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, changing the lives of the less fortunate. That's the mission of one local doctor as he travels across the world. And we're halfway through the work week and temperatures have been extremely hot. Any weekend plans? Well, Greg is back with your extended weather forecast when Our News returns. Welcome back to our news. We've been talking about the hot, scorching temperatures for the past few weeks, but with some rain in the forecast, hopefully temperatures cool down a bit. Greg is back with your extended weather. Greg?
Yeah, thanks again, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody, for our final check of weather. We are under a high-pressure ridge that is dominating our weather with some very hot temperatures, dry conditions, and we also have some Saharan dust, a very thin layer of it still lurking across our area. It's moving in off the Atlantic. There's a tropical wave just south of the Bahamas moving across Hispaniola. That's triggering some showers and some isolated thunderstorms across the southeastern islands. There's also an upper level low that's just slightly to the north of that, and that's going to continue to assist this tropical wave as it continues to move toward the west, pushing some showers and thunderstorms. We're looking for that to spread across the central Bahamas tonight to tomorrow and then into the northwest Bahamas by the weekend. So we could see a little bit of a relief from the heat that we've been experiencing over the last couple of days. But of course, once that tropical wave gets out of here, the heat will be back on. Future forecast showing just a couple of isolated showers throughout tonight and into tomorrow. If you notice, there's an upper, well, actually a little bit of a spin just to the east of the Bahamas. That's an upper level low. That's going to help to trigger some showers. Activity will stay to the east of the Bahamas through Friday, but eventually some of this will be moving across our area. And once again, as I mentioned, we could see some showers and some thunderstorms by the weekend. Boating conditions and beaching for the northwest and central islands. Southeast, a southerly wind flow at 10 to 15 knots. They will fall light and variable at times. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your low tide will be at 9:57 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, a caution flag in place for you guys down there. Still east to southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 6 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, dry conditions mainly across the northwest and central Bahamas, but eventually by the weekend we'll start to see that moisture move across us. So we're looking at some cloudy conditions for Saturday. Temperatures will stay near the mid to low 90s, and those triple-digit indices will be with us all the way through next week. That moisture will hang around, so more showers in the forecast by that time frame as well. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right, thanks, Greg. But a local pediatric surgeon traveling to Morocco recently with an international foundation that aims to change the lives of the less fortunate. Our Megan Shepard has the story of this Bahamian, another reminder of us being among the most talented and gifted people in the world.
Pediatric surgeon Dr. Ashani Knowles has been in the medical field since 2010 and began traveling on international missions. Recently, he traveled to Morocco with the Paul Chester Children's Hope Foundation, where the team spent 10 days changing the lives of some 90 children.
We did some circumcisions, hernias. We didn't do any big surgeries because, of course, you need a lot of post-op care, and we would have left. So we did something called hydroseals, so a lot of what we call groin surgery. So I did about 25, and then the ear, nose, and throat did another 30. Plastic surgery did another 30. We also, on this trip, they extended it to the children's families.
The team also taking their efforts into the desert, helping to diagnose several people with cancer. And beyond surgeries, they were able to hold lectures for local nurses and medical students, an initiative Dr. Knowles believes will have a lasting impact.
We basically brought in all our instruments, all our disposables, almost $750,000 worth of instruments and disposables. And what we didn't use, we actually left there. I must say that the surgeons there were competent, but the issue was resources.
While this was his first mission with this particular foundation, Dr. Knowles says it will not be his last, adding that he enjoyed the holistic aspects of the trip. Of the 60-member team, 30 were clinical and 30 non-clinical.
They were there to basically put some input into an orphanage that they were pretty much building. And they came and pretty much helped a bit with the infrastructure, with some paintings and some interaction actually with the kids. About 15 to 20 children were also a part of our mission.
And as a pediatric surgeon, he says being able to help children return to a life of normalcy is always most gratifying. Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard.
Right, such a great story. Thanks for that, Megan. And of course, to see that story again, you can visit ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.